Hello, this is Stephanie Moberly, and this is my graphic for Module 7. For this, I chose and finally chose to use Glyphy, which is a program that I've not used before. I started off with the Lucid Charts diagrams, and I had used that previously, is why I'd started with that. But the more I got into it, I didn't really like how I was limited with using specific things based on, paid or just the free version. So I quickly switched to Glyphy diagrams, and I really liked this. I feel like this program is really easy to work with, manipulate it, and change things. As you can see here, I have lots of different images here that I've inputted in, and that was a very easy process, pretty much just a click and drag into my flow chart here. So I really liked the Glyphy diagrams for the use of this flow chart for this program. So for this assignment, we started off with having to separate our district, I would say, or our community into two separate categories, internal and external. And for me, I kind of thought of this as in-house and out-of-house as far as in the buildings. My internal group I have categorized as students, teachers, principal, and superintendent, which I have over here on the left of my flow chart, and then the right would be my external, and that would be anybody that's not in the school buildings daily. That would include parents, community members, as well as local businesses that we partnership with. So for this in my diagram, I have it separated out, and you can see here I have solid lines leading to my two categories and then out to my different subcategories. Then from each of my categories, for example, from teachers and then on out, I have dotted lines because our method of communication is not super consistent, as in we don't use one form of communication. We have it differs based on ease, pretty much who we're trying to contact and for what we're trying to contact. So I have just the different methods of communication that we have for internal, range anywhere from email for our Gmail, to text messages, staff meetings, as well as PowerSchool and Seesaw. As you can see here, the biggest form of communication that we try to have would be to our students. We place everything on Seesaw that students will need, as well as any notes that go home. They're also placed on Seesaw for students to see. And that's also a great way where the students can communicate and share their work with their parents. They place all of their things in their Seesaw account, and parents have access to that. This second little icon is like the speaker. We do daily announcements, and our students actually do those over the intercom. We have a different class each week that does the daily announcements, that goes over any activities that we have for that day, reminders on, for example, who's taking state assessments, as well as the lunch options for the day. We also do, I have the little icon here with just the face, verbal communication. Teachers talk daily, hourly, every minute with their students, so we use that as a good form of communication, as well as PowerSchool. PowerSchool is our program that we use for attendance and grades. Our students have access to that on their iPads. They can get on at any time of any day and check their grades for their specific classes, as well as check their lunch account balance. They can check if they have any missing assignments, things like that. So we try and have, as open communication as possible. I feel like, and as you can see here with just the multiple different ways that we communicate internally, our internal structure does a very good job of communication. It's pretty much twofold. It can go back and forth. Students feel comfortable communicating with us, principals, superintendents, teachers, all across the board. External, our external group that involves our parents, our community members, and our local businesses. First and foremost, we try and have as much communication with parents as possible. As you can see here, I have 4 different ways of communication. PowerSchool, again, our parents have just as much access to PowerSchool as our students do. They can get in and check their child's grades. They'll actually get notifications if their grade drops or goes up, even depending on how they set it. Facebook is also a big method for us for communicating. We've found that that's been the most effective for communicating events and pictures and information like that, and we use that for both parents and just general community members. Seesaw is new for our building this year, and that's what we use in our elementary building for communication with parents, as well as assignments things. And we started that because of COVID and the instance that we had to go remote. We wanted to have one program that all of the teachers were using, that all the parents were using for all of their children. So we decided to adopt Seesaw for that. And then I also have the little text message alert. Our parents, when they enroll and they input their contact information, they can opt in or opt out of text alerts and voicemail alerts. We use that a lot to send out announcements and information, and we can, group those parents into class or grade levels or building level based on those announcements. I felt like when looking at my district, we were kind of lacking in our communication with local businesses. And we have partnerships with local businesses that help us out for sure. But as I got to looking and really thinking about that, we really only have one form of communicating with that, and that's just face-to-face. Someone from the school, a representative, our superintendent, our principal, or a teacher, for example, would go to that local business and speak with them and talk to them about what we're wanting to do, or ideas that we have for projects to work with that business. But other than that, I didn't feel like we had a set method for communicating, and it's very it's kind of a free-for-all, so do as you wish. Our community members, as well as parents and our local businesses, if they wish, could use our school website to look for information. However, I don't feel like our school website is always as up to date. We do a very good job of updating our Facebook page. The school website is run by just our one technology person, coordinator, so he has a lot on his plate, and the school website kind of comes last. We also have site council meetings, and we have that every month where we have community members, parents, local business people. They come in and sit on our site council, where we have student groups presenting projects. We talk to them about things that are going on in the school, and then we ask for suggestions. So, for example, one of the suggestions that we keep hearing from our site council would be to begin teaching or put an emphasis on teaching handwriting and cursive writing, for example. That's something that our community wants to see. As far as this project and my flowchart, as far as my critique, I would say I was fairly happy with it. I do feel like I could have formatted it differently. I really thought about, instead of categorizing it into groups for my internal, for example, the students, principals, superintendent, and teachers, I could break those up into the three groups of communication: the written, the oral or verbal, and the digital components. But I wanted to really be able to look at how we are communicating with each subgroup within our internal organization. So as far as that, I was fairly happy with that. I was really happy with the program that I chose, and I really did enjoy this assignment. Thank you so much.